Many are called, few are chosen, written and narrated by Peter J. Merrick. The saying, many are called, but few are chosen, has fascinated me for most of my life, but I think most individuals misunderstand what it actually means. They think it means a small elite group is magically selected somehow. I do not see it that way at all. I think life quietly calls almost everyone. Very few answer. That idea stayed with me since I was a little boy, sitting in a movie theater in 1977, watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind for the very first time. I was only 8 years old, completely mesmerized watching Richard Dreyfuss play Roy Neary, an ordinary man who experiences something extraordinary and simply cannot ignore it. Millions of individuals in the film receive the same invitation toward Devil's Tower. They see the signs, they feel something unusual, but most rationalize it away, ignore it, or allow fear, routine, and ordinary life to stop them. Not Roy. Roy answers the call completely. As a child, I thought he was crazy. As an adult, I completely understood him. There is something deeply human about feeling a pull towards something meaningful while the rest of the world continues shopping, paying bills, arguing about politics, and pretending nothing unusual is happening. Over the years, I experienced smaller versions of this exact same phenomenon in my own life. For 18 years, I wrote a column for Canada's largest accounting publication. During that time, I wrote more than 400 articles read by accountants, financial advisors, tax lawyers, and professionals across the country. The publication had readership penetration into well over 80% of all practicing CPAs and tax lawyers in Canada. That is an extraordinary amount of readership when you actually stop and think about it. And yet, what fascinated me most was never the audience size. It was the silence. For years, I would attend tax conferences throughout Canada during lunches, dinners, and networking events. Individuals would often stare at me with that familiar expression people get when they know they recognize someone but cannot quite place where from. Then eventually somebody would say, "You look really familiar." Now, let me tell you something humbling. Nothing keeps a man grounded quite like having thousands of professionals recognize your face while simultaneously having absolutely no idea why they know you. I would smile politely and ask, "Do you happen to read the publication where I write my column?" And almost instantly their face would light up. "That is it. You are the column writer. I have been reading your articles for years." Some would even tell me they had thought about contacting me many times over the years, but never did. That always fascinated me deeply because despite writing more than 400 articles over 18 years, I received only 3 letters to the editor and fewer than 3 dozen personal calls or messages. 3 letters. To put that into perspective, statistically, I probably received more calls asking me to change long-distance providers than actual feedback from readers. And yet I knew the readership was massive. That means there were likely thousands upon thousands of individuals who quietly read my work, connected with it, appreciated it, discussed it over coffee with colleagues, and never acted. Not because they did not care, because most human beings never cross the invisible line between feeling something and responding to it. That is the real meaning behind many are called, few are chosen. The chosen are not necessarily smarter, not necessarily more talented. Often they are simply the individuals willing to answer, willing to initiate, willing to step forward, willing to make contact, willing to say, "I saw this. This mattered to me. I felt something here." Politicians understand this principle extremely well. For every individual who writes a letter, sends an email, or makes a phone call, there are often tens of thousands of others who quietly feel the exact same way but never speak. The few who actually act become disproportionately important precisely because they answered the call. Returning to Roy and Close Encounters, we see the exact same pattern unfold. The individuals who continue climbing the mountain become extraordinary, not because they were specially selected, but because they chose to continue while others stopped. That is the difference. Very few individuals truly choose to be chosen. And honestly, I understand this because I have done the exact same thing myself many times in life. Like most individuals, there have been moments where I deeply respected someone, appreciated someone, admired someone, and never reached out. Human beings do this constantly. We assume there will always be another opportunity, another conversation, another tomorrow. Sometimes there is, sometimes there is not. When individuals reach out to me through this platform, I genuinely do not take it lightly because I understand what it psychologically takes for a human being to move from silent observation into real connection, to voluntarily cross that invisible line. That small act tells me something important about the individual. It tells me they are participating in life instead of merely observing it from the sidelines. And honestly, after all these years, that still humbles me. In life, many are called, very few answer. Very few voluntarily choose to be chosen. Treasure those individuals when they appear in your life because they are rare. Peter Merrick, A.K.A. Old Fart, still choosing to be chosen.